What is going on? Facebook, are you working? I sure hope so. Sorry, guys, I'm literally 3 minutes late because I just got a little bit sidetracked. I got a text message, and anyways, it threw off my whole game. So, anyways, I am going to try to make this like as short and sweet as possible while giving you guys some pointers. So, I asked you all, I did a little poll here in the group, and I said, like, what do you guys want me to chat about today? And I literally mean that. Anytime you see me asking about something, even if you don't see me asking you guys something, wow, my hair looks crazy. Please feel free to shoot over whatever questions, comments, feedback you have. If there's like a particular topic that myself or any of the other coaches can present on, we would love to help you guys with that, right? That's literally what we have this group for. It is to be able to provide you with resources that are going to help you on your journey. So whether you're a one-on-one client of ours, whether you're a past client of ours, a future client of ours, or somebody who never wants to work with us on one-on-one, that's totally fine. We want to educate and empower, and we also want to give a little bit of tough love too. So today's conversation, there will be some tough love for sure. Hopefully you guys are all up for that. And if you're not, guess what? You probably don't want to watch anything that I ever post on this group or on social media, period, because I am not a sugar-coated kind of chick. Okay. I already got a sweet tooth. You probably all have a sweet tooth as well. You do not need more sugar. You need somebody to tell you how it is. Okay. Dems the facts. If people are just being babied all the time, I promise you, that's not going to help you to be successful. We should not be living in a culture of everybody gets a participation ribbon. We should be living in a culture of like, we work hard, we persevere, we show the F up, and we reach our goals. So anyways, let's do the damn thing. You guys voted on the topic of wanting to talk about family meals. So notice I didn't put in there like recipes for the family or how to get the family to eat healthy or any of that shit. I don't care about any of that stuff. The way that you are going to plan family meals and tackle family meals is the way that is going to help you to live a healthier life, help you reach your goals, and hopefully this also passes along healthier habits to your family as well. Because oftentimes I'll have clients that come to start working with me and they're like, I'm really sick of eating differently than my family. Meaning they've been somebody who has been trapped with a program that is dog shit like Optavia or Nutrisystem, or I don't even know what kind of shit is out there these days, but they've been trapped in programs like that where your meals looked like having a shake, or your meals looked like having a pathetic little bed of lettuce with a piece of dry ass chicken. Like, I get it. I would want to eat with my family too and eat what they're eating rather than popping some stupid shake into a blender or popping some microwavable thing in the microwave while my family's eating pizza and spaghetti and tacos and burgers, right? You should be able to eat the things that your family is eating, and your family should be able to want to eat the things that you're eating too on your health and fitness journey. The thing is, it's just going to probably look different for every individual in your house. So here's what you need to know about me. I am somebody who does not have children. Definitely a choice, okay? Not interested in planning for kids, running around to all their events and stuff. So I know that many of you, your life probably looks a lot different than mine. I do not have to work with a schedule of running kids to soccer games and to and from school and stuff like that. And so I myself, without even having that like extra obstacle, I still need to make things as simple as possible for me and my family, which happens to consist of myself and my husband, and actually my dog. Like, I do actually cook my dog's food as well. She doesn't eat just kibble. So that's an interesting fact that I think many of us should be aware of. Like, dog food is crazy and dogs could eat real food too, and they'll really enjoy it. But anyways, my life looks different, but I still make a plan for our family to be healthy. And I also, spend a decent amount of time up in Montana at my parents' house. I go on like week-long trips up there sometimes, or stay for a long weekend or whatever. And my parents come down here too. And the thing that has helped all of us tremendously is that we all eat very similarly, but none of us eat the same. Meaning that we all, like my parents, myself and my husband, we all actually track our macros. This doesn't mean that I think your husband or your significant other or whoever needs to be tracking their macros. It doesn't mean that your kids need to be tracking their macros. That is for damn sure. But it means that it's a little bit easier because we've all come to this conclusion after doing this for quite some time at this point, that it's so much easier to just come up with ingredients that we food prep in bulk that then allow us to be successful with hitting our goals throughout the week. So for instance, my husband and I, actually, we both happened to be eating lunch at the same time today, which was literally like 10 minutes ago, right before I started this live. That was part of the reason I was late too, is because I was shoving my food down my throat. But we were both able to be in the kitchen, putting our meals together, not eating the same things at all, right? But still able to eat at the same time, okay? And eat different foods and both hit our nutritional needs. Why? Because we effing food prep. Mostly me, mostly I effing food prep. He does a little bit, but I pretty much just cook up a bunch of bulk ingredients for the week, and it's mix and match, like choose your own adventure. I know you've heard this term that I coined many years ago: throw shit in a bowl and call it a meal. That is literally like my claim to fame. So I want to show you some of the things, for example, that I have stocked in my fridge for this week. And it's not totally stocked. I'm going to definitely be honest, because it's already Wednesday. So we've already gone through a few days this week and food's getting a little bit low, but that's okay, because I typically like to go grocery shopping on Thursdays, maybe Friday nights, in order to re-up for the new week. So let's show you some of the things that I've got here, and we'll try to be as concise as possible. So for proteins that I have prepped for the week, I've got a bunch of salmon. Okay. So salmon is going to be a protein, but it's also got a decent amount of fat in here. So this is why I don't usually ever have a ton of fats on hand for the week. I usually just want to know what are some protein sources, what are some fruit and veggie sources, and what are some carb sources. You're usually going to find a decent amount of fat in things like fattier fish, fattier cuts of meat, and then you could also just add like cooking oils and stuff if you wanted extra fats. So anyways, I got my protein here. I cooked it in the air fryer, just salt and garlic powder. Normally I would put pepper on it, but I can't have pepper right now. Cooked it in the air fryer. It's in a dish. It's sealed. And this is what I've been throwing into my salads at night. Okay. I also have shrimp. This was literally just frozen shrimp that I bought at Costco, portioned out a bunch of it into a bowl, and it just thaws. And then what I've been doing is throwing salmon and shrimp into my salads at night. Okay. I also have in here some grass-fed 93.7 ground beef, so a leaner beef. This is for my breakfast in the morning because I'm not eating eggs right now. And then I've got some Traeger chicken. So this is chicken that I cook on the Traeger. I like to do the boneless, skinless chicken thighs from Costco. I literally cooked up 6 packs of them all at once over the weekend. And then I froze a bunch of them. Sorry, there's a deer in my effing backyard again. I froze a bunch of these baggies of chicken, and I just literally, like this one, once I get through it at the end of the week, I will grab another one that is lots loaded in the freezer, ready to go for next week, because I don't want to have to cook all of my stuff every week, right? So again, I got beef and chicken that I'm using for my breakfasts. I also have bacon that I cook in the air fryer that I'm using for my breakfast. And the last thing that I have, flank steak that I cook in the air fryer. And this is what I just had for lunch. So I only have a little bit left, probably enough to get me through lunch tomorrow. And that's okay. Then I will go find something else, right? I'll have something else for lunch. I'll have a different meat. So I'll have beef, or I'll have chicken, or I'll have turkey, or I'll have shrimp, or I'll have salmon, because I still have a decent amount of those other proteins left. So those are the proteins that I have for me for the week. Now, for my husband, he's not eating any of those actually, right? We both have completely different meal options for ourselves. So I named to you all the protein resources that I have for this week. My husband, his looks different. He just, again, mixes and matches what he needs for various meals. So for him, for right now, he has egg whites that he uses in his breakfast, okay? Again, I can't have egg whites. Normally I would. Right now I cannot. So he's got the egg whites for his oatmeal that he has in the morning. He also has eggs that he uses for his second breakfast. So again, this is where you need to just understand more about macronutrients and what foods are going to give you what different types of macros. So egg whites, it's going to be all protein. The eggs are going to be a combination of protein and fat, predominantly fat. So much like the salmon, right? Yes, it's a source of both protein and fat, but really we're not getting quite as much protein in those options. All right. Next, other things that he has in here, he has his chicken too, because I do the same thing for his chicken. He just has a different seasoning that I use, which is Weber's chicken season. Okay. And then what else? He also has his beef, which is not as lean as mine, right? I told you I was eating the 93.7 grass-fed ground beef. He's doing just the 88.12 ground beef from Costco. So again, mine's leaner. It has less fat. His has more fat. Mine has less calories because it's leaner. It has a higher protein to fat ratio. His has a lower protein to fat ratio, but it's still a pretty lean meat, if you will. Okay. So how does he use the beef? He actually makes smashed tacos every night for dinner. And literally he eats the same thing every night. I told you I put the salmon or the shrimp on a salad for me. That's what I have every night for dinner. And again, this is about family meals, right? We don't eat dinner together. Typically, like clockwork, I like to end my workday at 5 p.m. or as close to that as I possibly can. And then I come here in the kitchen, I throw my salad into the salad mixer, I throw my protein on top of it, and I'm eating dinner shortly after 5. He usually comes in while I'm actually eating my dinner, sitting here at the counter in the kitchen, and he'll be cooking his dinner. So we're still spending like dinner time together. We're still in the same space, but we do not need to eat the same meals. I think that's one of the places that people really struggle, is that they think like, oh, well, I have to have this family time with my family. You totally can, but you and your family do not need to eat the same things. You could, if you totally wanted to. That's definitely a possible thing, but you don't have to. So with that as well, let's talk about these smashed tacos that he has. So I actually have like a video where he and I walked you guys through how we used to make them on our Blackstone. Lately, he's been making them inside, and that's just because of like not wanting to go outside because it's been effing cold and stuff with the big winter. So he figured out how to make them just as good, almost, inside on the stove, and that's great. But he used to make smash burgers and or smash burger salads for us both on the Blackstone. So again, we would eat dinner together and he would actually cook dinner for us, but we did not have the same dinner, right? He would do a smash burger with a brioche bun. And then eventually it moved into, he was doing smashed tacos with the tortillas. And that's been on repeat for literally months at this point. And back in the day, like when I was just kind of eating whatever I wanted, still tracking my macros, still had good calories and stuff. At one point I could eat things like buns. Again, right now I'm just not, but at one point we were both eating smash burgers. So he would make our dinner together and we would eat together. Okay. Then like things just changed. A little bit of things were changing up with my diet. I'm like, I can't have the burger bun. And I never even really got to have the smash tacos. I've only had them a couple of times just because of the stuff I've been dealing with my gut. I wish I could have the smash tacos, but I can't right now. And that's okay. So what he would do, he would still make our burgers and make our onions out on the grill. His would be on a burger bun. Mine would be on a salad, right? So again, if you're somebody who's like trying to make better choices and you're maybe trying to cut down on calories, perhaps you're in a calorie deficit, you're trying to drop some weight, you can still eat the same thing. Again, my husband and I, we had the same basic concept of the meal. It was the smash burger patties with the onions, with the cheese, right? He had regular shredded cheese. I had Laughing Cow cheese. And then I threw mine on top of a salad. So it was like romaine, carrots, tomato, and then like whatever salad dressing I was using, maybe a Bolthouse Farms dressing, because those are delicious and low calorie, while he had his as a burger. Okay. Same meal, just different accessories on the meal, if you will, right? It was the same staple piece, the burger, and then we both had a different way of having that meal. Okay. Other ways that we've done this in the past. And let's even talk about like what we would do with breakfast and stuff, right? If we wanted to eat the same breakfast, we could have at one point, and we really did. But mine looked a little bit different because I am always chasing a fiber goal. I'm somebody who I want like a lot of volume in my food. And so one of my staple breakfasts that I made for freaking forever was where I would have a packet of oatmeal. So just quick oatmeal that I'd throw in a bowl with some water. And then I'd throw in riced cauliflower. This would make it higher volume. This would make me feel more satisfied and satiated, and it would provide me more fiber. And then I would cook up my egg whites in the microwave. And then I'd put in maybe some maple syrup, put in some berries for some more fiber and to make sure I got some fruits in there. That was my breakfast. So it was oatmeal, but it had egg whites in it, and it had berries in it, and it had cauliflower in it. Guess what? He was eating the same thing. He was just eating a greater portion of oats. Why? Because he needed more calories. So he would eat 2 servings of oats. He didn't need the rice cauliflower because he's not trying to get all the fiber like I am. And he was still getting plenty of fiber from the oats. And then he would make his egg whites, and he would throw in his berries. So again, same meal, but totally different. But based on whatever we needed for ourselves. So this is why, you guys, having things like staple items in your pantries at all times, like oatmeal, like rice, where you can make things just individually, or you can make just a big batch of it, right? I can make a big batch of rice that both my husband and I can eat throughout the week. I can make a big batch of potatoes and vegetables that, again, we can both mix and match and do whatever we need for whatever meal we need. But we don't necessarily have to eat it in the same meal. Like I could have rice and flank steak and peppers for lunch, and maybe my husband has that for dinner, right? Or maybe he has right? Or maybe he has flank steak and peppers and tortillas because he wants to have fajitas, right? We just mix and match ingredients, and it doesn't matter what he's eating. I can eat something different, or I can eat something that's the same, but a little bit different, and vice versa. So this is where I think, again, people get really overwhelmed with, they want to make recipes. They're like, oh, I have to make this recipe that my whole family enjoys, or whatever. And you certainly can, but I'm telling you, it's going to make life a lot more difficult. So my biggest suggestion is, again, let's go back to doing things like food prepping. You do not have to meal prep, but you can mix and match ingredients. So let's go back to the fridge and see some of the things that he and I like to mix and match into our meals throughout the week. So, sorry, kind of slim pickings right now, because again, we're later in the week. But things that I have on hand that both of us could just throw shit in a bowl and call it a meal. I have my own bacon balsamic Brussels sprouts. He actually has his own batch of bacon balsamic Brussels sprouts. Why? Because I can do that, right? His has just a different maple syrup than mine. Mine has like a good high quality one. His has like a lower calorie one. It just is what it is. That's just kind of what I have to do with my foods right now. I have a big batch of asparagus that either of us could just throw asparagus into our lunch or into our dinner or into our breakfast. Again, remember, you can have things like vegetables at breakfast, which if you caught my Instagram live that I did this morning when I was cooking breakfast, I showed you I'm eating things that I like to have for breakfast. It's not necessarily typical staple breakfast foods, right? You can eat anything for breakfast. You could have a burger for breakfast. You could have steak for breakfast. You could have salmon for breakfast. It doesn't have to be just breakfast foods. Okay, so there's some of our veggies. And then what else do we have? I got just a big thing of spinach. So you could make a salad out of spinach. You could saute spinach. That's how I'm predominantly using it right now. I just saute it up and put it in my little breakfast kind of scramble, if you will. What else do I have? I have a teeny bit of delicata squash left. I actually have a big batch I'm going to throw in the oven as soon as I'm done here with you guys. Here's a big bowl of rice for my husband. I'm not eating rice right now, but again, I just made some rice in the Instant Pot for him at the start of the week, and he can just throw it in a bowl with whatever meal. He just had this with his lunch, actually. Again, we already talked about the proteins. I have some pre-portioned out veggies. These are just onions and mushrooms that I just easily grab. So this is for Thursday, this is for Friday, and this one's for Saturday. I already pre-prepped all of these, sliced them up on Sunday for the entire week so they would be ready to go and just throw in with a meal. Here is my mix-ins for my salads. I have carrots, I have romaine lettuce, and I have coleslaw mix. Again, because I like to eat a big-ass salad for dinner every night. Then again, single ingredient foods. We have avocados, we have apples, we have berries. Okay, so blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. Costco did not have raspberries. If you caught my live, I did in here last week. And then one of my husband's favorite snacks is he just likes to have some baby carrots. So again, this is why, wow, get in the fridge. This is why, you guys, it is so helpful to food prep, is because not only does it make it easier for you to track your macros and hit your goals and just simply make these little tweaks here and there, right? Like if I all of a sudden needed to have a ton more protein, I could just double up my serving of shrimp, or I could double up my serving of chicken. Or let's say I'm looking at my food logs because I pre-planned my day and I'm like, oh crap, I actually have too much protein. Okay, then I could just cut off a couple ounces of chicken or something like that. But again, it's mixing and matching things throughout the day and having plenty of options for both my husband and I to choose from. So now if you're like, well, I have kids and they're not going to eat that, the kids are going to eat what you have in the house, right? So if you choose to have things in the house that they can have, that they want to have, amazing. But you also need to be giving them what they want. Very similar to my job as a coach. I want to give my clients what they need, what they want. I want to give them everything to help them to be really successful with this journey. And so I have to give them what they need. I have to. But I also need to sprinkle in what they want too, right? Like I'm not just going to give them workouts that they hate. I'm going to give them workouts that have things that they enjoy, while also giving them the things that I know are going to help to strengthen them and build the physique that they're looking for and whatnot. So same with your nutrition and with your family's nutrition. Sure, your kids might want to have things like Oreos or Goldfish crackers or whatever the hell it is. And you might want to have those things too. And you certainly can. Every one of you could eat those things every day, even in a fat loss phase if you wanted to, but you have to first and foremost implement what do I need first? So we plan out our proteins, we plan out our fruits and veggies, we make sure our protein goal is hit, our fiber goal is hit, and then yeah, maybe we sprinkle in an Oreo. Maybe you can't fit the Oreo that day, right? I just had this on a check-in with the client where last week I called her out. I'm like, so you struggled with hitting your fiber, and fiber is made up of carbohydrates. Okay, so why are we having alcohol on these days that you're not hitting fiber? You're letting carbohydrates from alcohol cancel out the carbs that you could have had from having a fibrous option, right? Here's the thing. Had my girl here had just 100 grams of broccoli, she would have gotten 4 grams of fiber added into her day, and it would have helped her to hit her goal. However, she decided to have 2 glasses of wine, that cost her 250 calories. That essentially cost her, was that 25? Cost her like 60 grams of carbs. The broccoli was going to take up a single digit amount of carbs. So she still could have totally had a glass of wine and hit her fiber goal if she would have just had something like broccoli or carrots or an apple or berries. So again, the point being that we need to give ourselves what we need first and foremost, and then sprinkle in the things that you want. Do that. Have that same strategy with your kids. Hey, babe, you're going to have your little chicken nuggets here. Buy them some delicious organic chicken nuggets or whatever. But also they're going to have some strawberries on their plate or something, right? This was a really great example when I went and stayed with one of my best friends out in Clemson last year or a couple of years ago. She has 2 little ones, and it was the perfect understanding and representation of like, she and her husband would be putting together their daughter's plates of food, and they had a protein on there, and they had a fruit on there, and they had a carb on there, whatever. And the parents did not need to eat the same thing that the kids were eating. You have different nutritional needs, okay? But they're still giving their kids what they want as well as what they need. It's, hey, you have this first and have as much as you need. Oh, if you don't need your entire dinner, then you probably don't need the Oreo afterwards, right? Or if you don't at least try to have some of the vegetables and the protein and the things that are good to help build this strong, resilient body, then maybe we don't need to have the dessert tonight, right? So again, I get that. I have a different perspective, much because I just don't have the family dynamics. I don't have the busy schedule and everything. But what I will say is, no matter what your schedule is, no matter what your family dynamics look like, food prep is king, you guys. Mix and match. Throw shit in a bowl, call it a meal. Keep it as simple as you possibly can. Cook things in bulk ahead of time, freeze half of it if you have to, and then unfreeze the other half later on in the week. Or maybe you're like, I'm sick of that. I'm glad I froze half of it because I don't want to eat that the rest of the week. Great. Then you need to find something else. Have other things on hand, like, maybe you have some of the frozen meals, or you have a meal prep company that you utilize or something. Great. But at the end of the day, what I want to communicate here is that you do not have to eat the same as your family. You do not have to eat at the same time as your family, but you certainly can. But it's not going to happen by winging it. We have to plan it in advance. And one of the best things you can do to plan in advance when it comes to hitting your nutrition goals is to food prep in bulk. Okay. So Kylie, thanks for being on here, girl. Renee, love you. Thank you for saying you definitely try to make it easy for us. I'm trying. Honestly, you guys, like, I get it. I make it look really easy because it is. I've been doing it for so long, and I'm trying to show you all the ways that I did and didn't do things right the first time around. Like, I was the person that was constantly looking for high protein recipe, protein balls, protein bread, protein dessert. Fuck that. Start eating single ingredient foods. They're going to help transform your body. I promise you that. Let food be thy medicine. Okay. And the one last thing I guess that I'll leave you with is, like, make at least 80 to 90% of your foods these whole single ingredient foods that you could either, identify as having walked on the earth or grown from the earth or swam in the waters of the earth, right? So animal proteins, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, all those things, what they are, right? If you were to look at an ingredients list, you would see that thing, like just broccoli, just ground beef. But if you see a laundry list of ingredients, well, maybe those things should be the 10 to 20% of foods that we're eating. The problem is that most people in this day and age, they're completely flip-flopped. They're eating 20% real whole foods and 80% ultra-processed, hyper-palatable foods that make us want to binge eat and have all the things. So that's my closing message. I hope this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. I always am receptive to your guys' feedback. So if you want to drop a comment, if you want to DM me, if anything resonated with you, please let me know. But I appreciate you guys just letting me share with you here, and always open to feedback. So have a great hump day, and I'll talk to you soon.